Ryan, you brought Patrick Bet David to my attention and probably attention of several audience members, but now he's growing in popularity for sure. And he's made a run at Tucker Carlson. I'm going to bring this up real quick. This is right from his Valuetainment site. $100 million offer for Tucker Carlson. This is his site. Heard it here first. Patrick Bet David has made an offer to the biggest name in mainstream news. Here's his official layout here. $100 million. It's kind of hard to see on here. $100 million over 5 years. An equity stake in Valuetainment, president of Valuetainment, and a board seat. Your own podcast and other daily/weekly shows, documentaries, and movies covering things you care about. What else? We're all ears. He left it open-ended. It's interesting, Ryan. What do you make of this? I like Patrick Bet David, but I feel like you have the right to speak on this.
I'm not going to say I told you guys so, but I told you so. Yeah, this is great. This is what we want, right? This would be a win for the Patriot movement. Just the thought that Patrick Bet David is reaching out to people of this caliber shows. He said he's going 40 years in on media. When I was listening to him, I listened to his live broadcast about this. He actually announced it on Megyn Kelly, and then he went live announcing the deal. It to be transparent, it to be upfront. He put it on Twitter. He explained why he did it. And, I really hope like people with money get into media, because our generation, largest generation in American history, don't know who to trust. And now is the time to build and to thrive and to tap into this funnel of information and sell it to our generation in particular. But it's people like Tucker Carlson doing that. It's people like Rogan, Candace Owens to some extent, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson. So to see Patrick Bet David really sack up here and put out money at a very high level, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but do you think it's light? Here's what I'm curious about.
Well, define light though.
Well, here's what I don't know, because we heard this with the Crowder contract offer from Daily Wire. He turned down $50 million, but when you hear it on the surface, it sounds like $50 million for Steven Crowder, when it was really $50 million for his whole production, which is I'm assuming it's very expensive to do the things that they're doing. So is this like $100 million for Tucker over 5 years? So it's 100. Yeah, over 5 years too. So I presume $100 million for Tucker over 5 years, $20 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, is this Tucker's an employee? I would, this was one thing they were kind of talking about even on the stream. Like, he's not a one-trick pony. He's like super faceted. He believes in a lot of stuff, and he's interesting. He's a history guy. He's a writer. He's this, is that, and I didn't know his come up in media story the whole way, and his dad was a media guy and stuff. So it was kind of cool to hear about some of that with Tucker. Yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, could Tucker make that on his own though? I mean, we're talking $100 guaranteed million. He was not making that at Fox. He was not making that at Fox.
I don't know what he was making at Fox.
No way, dude.
I don't know. Those companies, CNN and Fox and everything, they pay big money for those people.
They are lying. Money. I mean,
very big money.
But that's the thing. It's like, imagine how much does Tucker want to win? What's the alternative? He tried to start his own meet. This was like the whole thing about Rumble coming into the space to fight YouTube, because it's like they could take your monetization away. So it don't matter who's investing. It don't matter who's on the network, because they can cut the strings. They actually reference Parler in this regard in that podcast. But now that Rumble's here, it kind of opens the door, and there's going to be more media. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon has his own streaming thing. I know he bought Vine, but my point in bringing all that up is because I don't think you can do it alone.
No, you need something. I mean,
there's a reason Rogan went Spotify when he could assign to anybody. Now, there wasn't a Patrick Bet David at the time. Twitter wasn't owned by Musk. There's a lot has changed in that very short time of 3 years here.
I always wonder if Rogan regrets it looking back. I know he would never publicly say this, but now that we've seen some of these other big things, like for example, Crowder gets such a big amount from Rumble, and now this Tucker Carlson thing is going to go through, and who knows how much that's going to end up being, and who gets them. But I speculated Rumble a while back, and certainly Rumble doesn't have infinite money, so they can't just keep paying everybody millions and millions of dollars.
It's not about money though. If it's equity, and what kind of equity would Joe Rogan bring to Rumble or Valuetainment?
Well,
like to
I know what you mean, but it is
like,
yeah, but there is, it certainly is money when you're running a business. I mean, Rumble they don't have unlimited money, so it has to be a win-win for both parties, I presume. But if what I'm getting at though is looking back now, if Rogan would have seen all of this ahead of time, would he have just held off and waited for Rumble to come knocking? I'm not saying they would have, but certainly Spotify, and I know Rogan says, "Oh well, they've been really good to me. They haven't censored any of my stuff." Meanwhile, they pulled how many episodes off of?
At least 50 or something.
Right. So like they haven't been good to him. He'll say it publicly because he's an employee, but they haven't been good to him.
Well, it's also a shame too, because this was, now that he's in Texas and he's talking like a straight Republican and saying vote Republican and all these other things, like he really I still think he thought that the media was a good person till the ivermectin thing. Like, who the hell are you? What's wrong with you, man? Like, it's not the government. Like, the government is the worst. He's like, oh, I left because of the government. The media is the first line of defense. Like, dude, you didn't think they were going to do that to you? It's just, that's what just killed me. Like, you guys don't see the writing on the wall here? Like, he might actually still believe, like, leftist ideologies a long way. And it's not that the left has gone more left. Those ideas were always about going there. The ones that they're screaming about, that cultural Marxism that we speak about, that was always there. That wasn't by accident. So, for him to sit there and obviously he's the torch bearer.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Shapiro's trying to build his own thing, and I'm sure we'll watch his legs fade away and burn on a menorah. But like, it's still gonna be like the same thing. Like, we're gonna look at Rogan, and he's always gonna be going to Spotify. Like, he'll always go down for that, when maybe he could have waited, but I don't know. Maybe that number that these people are now getting, 100 million, 50 million, wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for Rogan. So
right.
I know it's like hindsight and catch-22 stuff, but no, I don't know. Rogan made his bed. Does he regret it? Whatever. Could Rumble even afford Rogan? We're talking new media. I think 100 million is light on this whole thing, when, Valuetainment, as long as nothing takes it off its course, will be a $1 billion company, like billion and like decibillion probably, if he's going 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Bet-David said he's just reinvesting all profits into the business.
Right. And Patrick Bet-David is obviously not a dumb man, certainly not financially. So if he's offering 100 million, I bet he's done some kind of research and math behind the scenes about what he thinks he could make off of Tucker Carlson. And obviously it would be beneficial for him as well.
Dude, 10% of that's $1 billion, right? Like, so he's like saying, if I just pay a Tucker a tenth of what this is capable of right now, like if this is $1 billion organization now, a tenth of it for one guy to bring that talent, like that's going to make it a $2 billion company. Like that's the thing back to Tucker. Tucker's not a businessman. Like if anything, it'd do him good to sign probably to a guy like PBD, learn business, and then maybe go do his own thing. And I'm sure Patrick Bet-David would give him his blessings. But I think like we're at the point here that you can't do it alone. So these people are going to have to start sticking with people.
Yeah. Well, and to your point too about, you asked earlier, I'm sure Tucker could make more than that on his own, probably. But does he want to deal with everything else that comes with that? Or is it just easier for him to sign off on the dotted line and do his show?
Yeah, because they even said you have basically all the free. We'll fund anything, within reason, I'm sure. But I don't know if he has a wife and kids or stuff, so that pays into it too. Like not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. And Patrick Bet-David, a high level entrepreneur, he's 100+ millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll tell you not everybody's cut out for this. It takes a temperament, and You know, that's kind of what's kind of cool to watch him negotiate in public is he knows all this shit about personality. Now, most of these people do. They're not dumb. They've read 48 Laws of Power and other books, but to see it like kind of play out with like that social psychology and internet psychology is kind of cool. But yeah, I think Tucker should go. I mean, I don't think you're going to get Patrick Bet David is building like literally a new type of media that will never. I mean, it's called Valuetainment for Christ's sake. Like he's trying to give you information and entertainment and all of it together, so you feel like you're not wasting your time while like watching content and consuming him. And he wants betterment of people. Like, why would you not want to? You know, the machine he's building will hopefully help, and I don't see why Tucker shouldn't join him and why he wouldn't. So, well, like you said, Dave, you think Tucker's already knowing where he's going?
I have a weird feeling. Yeah.
Where's your premonition? Where do you think?
Well, my original thought was Rumble's going to make a run at him because they'd be dumb not to, right?
Mm-hmm.
They landed Crowder. You throw Tucker in there also. I mean, that's a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, because Valuetainment has like 5 million subs on YouTube.
Right.
You know, and like the hours they're watching is like way more than mainstream. Yeah, it's like this is cool to watch, man, because we're watching like the new infrastructure of the new media get built.
What I do love about this
isn't like an InfoWars or something, obviously, because Alex built his own like apparatus, and some of these fringe groups on Reddit have built, you know. But we're talking like actual that can challenge the like is the mainstream, like the new mainstream. Is very cool, exciting.
Yeah, but I more so than that, it also kind of signifies that the old school media is finally dying. Like we've been seeing it for a while, but like the more this happens, the more they fade away. I mean, Fox News. What were the numbers? Like the night, it was like half, wasn't it? Half the viewership on that same time slot.
I think it was even worse than that.
Yeah. So great. Keep firing your
but here's the thing.
People, I love it.
Here's the thing. Do you see they're releasing all the hit pieces that Tucker's like all this shit, like he's a motherfucker sitting across from me and all this stuff. And it's like the people want that stuff, right? Which is why we go to these outside sources. Like that's what I don't get is because these people know exactly what they're doing. They know what we like. They know
Donald
what
Trump
we like.
literally won the 2016 election and the 2020 election by being a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That was kind of what he did. That was his thing.
Yeah. You know, I actually thought about like, I really miss when I could just turn on a movie and not have to worry about gas being $8 when I wake up. Fucking put the asshole back in. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern on Rumble. Dave and I will be there as always, David. I appreciate you for your time. I'll see everybody later.
Thanks, everyone.
Trump's going to be the first president to win 3 elections in a row.